and Joni. I want them two cultural lovers to know, not only PNM song is calypso. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. Crime will never stop in this country once black people belly empty. How could a man work in CPEP, maintain his whole family? Or you say the past regime was so bad, so much wrong thing they done to we. Now that PNM take over, white poor people going hungry. When PNM win, all African grin. Now we get back we country. All they doing is complaining and ain't doing nothing for we. The mess already made, don't sit in the shade and ponder on the problem. Get off your ass and do it fast and find a way to solve them. I want to ring my bell, wake up Randolph Burrows. Tell him among all past police commissioners, up to now is he I prefer. Ring my bell, wake up the Lord Bryna. Tell him the state of Calypso today is a good thing he passed away.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South Central, or President Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is, of course, no doubt, absolutely so, the Wednesday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Of course, your host, Lennox Smith. But let's go to the reality of Trinidad and Tobago today. And that is, of course, we vote them to hell out. That is what we did. We voted the tails out. When they were saying that it was impossible, when the experts who clearly would have had a bias for a PNM that, of course, they see as some kind of enigmatic, let me repeat, some kind of enigmatic superior electoral machinery. Well, the UNC, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and the coalition of interest dispel, annihilate, and of course disabuse that notion. And today they are struggling, imploding, exploding, and they are running like headless ducks all over the place. Rowley recently was seen, of course, with a huge amount of luggage in some airport. I don't know if he's going into exile, but that son of a gun. Yes, indeed. That is what we did on the 28th of April. Go, 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 and stay going.
If they don't see, stay your finger and show them no mercy.
Yes, indeed, we showed them no mercy. 26 seats in the tail. They couldn't even muster close to that in the best of times. 23 in the best of times for the PNM in 2015. But we show them 26 plus 2, 28. And they have finally signed their death warrant and is lying on their deathbed in Tobago. Trinidad just gave them a sort of what I consider to be thundering lease on life. But it is ephemeral, yes, it is temporary, and of course, it is incomplete. Incomplete. The task in Trinidad is incomplete. Yes, inchoate, incomplete. Inchoate, yes, that's a word for maybe the C students and those of you who are so inclined to, of course, expanding your lexicon ability, or put another way, expanding your vocabulary. Yes, indeed. Inchoate. Inchoate. Incomplete. The task of making sure that we annihilate the PNM is inchoate, incomplete, and therefore the completion will be, of course, in the not too distant future when other elections manifest itself in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, indeed. Let's say it again. What we did. And of course, welcome to the Corridor Transformation on this Wednesday edition. Your host, Lennox. Of course, I'll be joined possibly later with, of course, our resident, what I consider to be businessman.
Together again. Put them out with calypso.
Yes.
Lord, light of my people.
Agree with me. These psalms are songs of spiritual battle and psalms to overcome the enemy. The word of God is like a sharp sword. Certainly, when used with faith, connected to the Holy Spirit, great miracles happen. Spiritual chains fall to the ground. If you are suffering from fear, anxiety, if you are still enslaved to the past or even the present, know that this prayer we are about to make will bring life and peace to your life and your family. Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look, and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling, for He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver Him. I will set Him on high, because
Light of my people.
Of course, welcome back, of course, to tonight's edition of the Corridor Transformation. Your host, of course, and I'll be joined a little later. But the fact of the matter is, and the question is tonight as well, whether the PNM has morphed or metamorphosized into a criminal enterprise. Whether it was a political strategy that was not just bogus, but was designed to hoodwink, deceive, and therefore one can conclude not just government by deception, but government by rapscallions. You know what I say? I say that it's not only bogus agenda and, of course, projection to the population, but whether, the question is whether it was and continues to be an organization not just by deception, not just by criminal behavior, not just by giving the impression that they are concerned about the population, 1.5 million of us, but whether it was about acquiring power for the purposes of executing their nefarious agenda. That we have to examine. Because you see, they are now like Pontius Pilate. All of them saying it wasn't me. As if we dotish. It wasn't me. But mind you, don't notice, they ain't saying it's who now. You know, when they were in government, We know we were regaled. It was at a point of ad nauseum sickening when they blamed Kamala Prasad, Mrs. the UNC, for every damn thing. Today, now that she has prevailed, because good will always prevail over evil, they, of course, the PNM being evil, they are now, of course, having difficulty in blaming anything external, but has now engaged in what is called internecine conflict. Let me repeat, yes, a nice term. Internecine conflict, meaning that they have started, of course, to blame each other. And like typical cannibals, they're eating each other up raw. Who going to press conference just so? Or who is ignoring, of course, the so-called chosen leader of the opposition? And that happened because there is a constitutional requirement for that to happen. So they came together and, of course, appointed someone. But really and truly, as we said before the election of the 28th of April, that it was a lame duck government, then incumbent, and it is now, of course, clearly a lame duck opposition. Let me repeat. I say that when they were in government, they were lame duck. They couldn't function. They were dysfunctional, of course, because they had the eyes, ears, and sympathy of those players who sway public opinion. I'm talking about, of course, the traditional media, whether it be the Express, Guardian, Newsday, you name it, TV6, TTT, etc. The fact of the matter is that now that the underbelly has been exposed, and the so-called unity, and the so-called, 67-year-old party, and of course its evolution would have caused them by now to be stable. We are seeing a pestilence that is unbrewing, unfolding. One may prefer to say a tsunami, whichever, pestilence, tsunami. The fact of the matter is that they are engaged, of course, in what I consider to be political ripples, political tectonic shifts of a magnitude that would have been unprecedented if they were in government. We couldn't see it, but the underbelly is now being shown, and everybody, of course, fighting. You had Al-Rari, for example, talking about what? That the present government of Kamala Prasad, Mrs. the UNC, and the coalition wouldn't last 12 months. Hold your tail, wishful thinking. But more than that, he said that the people that were in charge of our affairs, unmeritoriously, of course, I must add, but nonetheless, they were there because we are a citizen, or we are a society of law, and therefore we law abide. And while there were people who were very hasty to tell us on the ground report and elsewhere that, listen, you need to come out there in your masses, we were telling them there is no need for that. What you need is a symbolism. What you need is a microcosm. What you need is a group of dedicated citizens who found themselves, of course, exposed to tear gas and, of course, being charged by the police. Pushback 1, pushback 2, pushback 3, pushback 4, pushback 5. And we didn't stop there. Before that, of course, we created some. And we were up and down the country preaching the gospel of salvation. And of course, in my case, have been saying that it is nothing different to Hitler, Mussolini, and of course, Saddam Hussein of Iraq. they will reign for a time. The time may appear to be long. The journey may appear to be arduous and tedious. But at the end of the day, evil cannot prevail over good. And so Saddam was found in a foxhole. And of course, the head of that country called, of course, let's go straight to the lines. Let's go straight to the lines immediately. We always give way.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. President Knight, welcome to the corridor.
Good
Welcome
night,
to the corridor.
good night, Lennox.
Good night.
Martin inside and
Yes, man. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. I was on a roll there, boy, but of course, but a pause for a cause. Go ahead, my friend.
All right. A couple of things. NGO by the name of Transparency something something. Apparently, they have risen from the dead. I see they put out a press briefing. They asked this government to look into the whistleblower legislation and campaign finance. You know, all of these organizations are PNM party groups and the leadership usually bat for the PNM. So, because the PNM out of office, they open them out again. But this is for the TTPS. And I hope they wasn't opening the fridge when the second press conference by the Honorable Kamala Prasad and our ministers last week Thursday, because there was an interesting piece of question and answer with the Attorney General and a journalist by name, I think it's Sudat Prasad or something like that. The question they asked him concerned the functioning of the Police Service Commissioner. And they were basically asking him to what role the government and the plurality has. And he said they are independent and they're not going to get involved with what the POLSC does. But what he hinted to, he said the last time a prime minister interfered with Americans going to parliament somewhere in the president's house and yard. And he said that man, KCR, was boastful of what he did, meaning he interfered with a legal process. He didn't say the police should investigate it, but he alluded to that. And I am telling the police, I hear something and I see something. In case they see it or they hear it, will they be opening an investigation with respect to that? Because an AG, the current AG, the former PNM AG, made a statement that a KCR, a prime minister, could be possibly perverting the course of justice or misbehaving in public office. Somebody had to open an investigation. Now, go on.
Thank you very much, my friend. And of course, I must add that in almost all criminal matters doesn't have a time bar. There's no time bar or no limit to when an investigation will ensue. As far as rape is concerned, yes, I'm using it with a high degree of specificity, and I know that people's minds will be thrown back as to the 9 years of my, of course, accusing and of course stated categorically the then Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley, of rape and being a pedophile, and he has not, of course. I'm going to read something tonight for you as well, just to, no, it's upstairs, so I'll do it tomorrow night. But the fact of the matter is, that consistent with what I mentioned earlier as to whether or not the PNM from the beginning was in fact a criminal enterprise, and that it was a government by deception, a government by they practice government by miscreants, and whether or not it was real, we are going to prove that tonight for you. So you are clear, you are pellucid in terms of your thoughts, and without a doubt, indubitably, without a doubt, we will place the record for you to, of course, make your own conclusions as well. Let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Things looking sharp tonight. A pleasant good night. Welcome in spite of course, our slight tardiness. But go ahead. A pleasant good night.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox.
Yes, man.
And your guests on the side of you.
Good night.
Share the live, and we want the listeners to tell the next one. We need to go to 40,000.
Yes,
Uncle
man.
Lennox is alive and well. So I heard a little echo back on your feedback on your phone, but I think it will be heard, eh?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. I don't know where
Right.
that is coming
So-
from, but go ahead. Yeah.
So Uncle Lennox, we're talking about the PNM and Keith Rowley passage to hell. So now, here what's going on. I would like you to correct me if I'm going wrong here. When he wanted the leadership, he went to Lake Oto, and then he gave it that money. Then when he come now and he select a few to be on his committee to form the executive at the PNM, and he pushed out fellas like Ford from Arima and Fordy and them fellas and them from the party, so he can have a way. And then when he come now and he formed the executive, he run with the executive who serve his interests, and he started to disconnect from the membership and started to move away from the general council, right? And having the delegates and to call the convention. Think about it, you know. See how when last he called a convention? The last convention he called was in Napa with all the elected councillors and them, you know, and special few. And then when you, especially you, Uncle Lennox, started to talk about Rowley and his misfit, and when he went as a teacher back in the days in Tobago, he impregnated a child because she was under the age of 18 at the time, to call her that child. And when he was questioning it, his integrity, his spiritual values and the morals, the woman's arm, right? Then leader came out and talked. And when he put Camille as the mouthpiece, he started to defend the black, strong African man in the PNM. When they went to the internal election now for leadership, 100,000 members registered to vote. 3 days they had an election, and you know what they say? That 100,000 people cannot vote in 1 day time, but they need the 3 days or 4 days to do it. And then the same guy again put a sidetrack, the Ford motor car. He get them to get the leadership, and they kick him out again for good. And they put their own executive. But a general election, but the UNC just have an internal election from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening, and just get it done. But the point is that you're getting, I stayed on the point, he could not muster a landslide or a recognized majority to be the leader. Then they started to go on pause, on a pause, on a pause. Look now, Faris, right? Stuart Young, Gonzal, Avery Brown, Foster Cummins, all of them fighting now for the top. But you see, They want to say window dressing, and they want to talk about principle in the PNM. It have none. They don't know about proper democracy. If they wanted true democracy, they're supposed to have at least had 2 contestants in the leadership to make it look good. So if we rewind back to Tobago, just a few months ago, what transpired? And when it reached Trinidad, all of a sudden, Stuart Young was at the helm by the word of mouth by a dictator. Yeah? So did I make any sense to what you are saying? And yet still no. They're talking about 1 year, 1 month, and they're talking about themselves, where the money gone? Because the question I want to ask now on my contribution, Faris, the road improvement company ought to form for a month and put $100 million in it. And when it went to the finance committee, ought to dissolve it. Where all our money going? Uncle Lennox, have a pleasant good night. I'll call back if there's anything and say the rest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, before I introduce my colleague in studio, I want to say, you know, I've always been impressed, and more so in recent times, with the vast knowledge of callers. I want to say, stay informed. Make your contributions, irregardless of whatever sacrifice and or criticism that may come your way and our way indeed for accommodating you. You see, that body of knowledge is critical, and as a pedagogue or a teacher, another word for a teacher is a pedagogue, as a pedagogue, I know that when you regurgitate long enough, not in the context of propaganda, because Hitler perfected the art of propaganda, but propaganda really is different from advertising. It is different, of course, from truth, etc. Because propaganda is, of course, a mechanism used by people to spread or to infect people with a false narrative, and for them to act on that falsehood or that false premise. So I'm talking about those persons who have taken the time, obviously, to enlighten themselves and to make contributions, as was the case with the last caller, consistent with the theme. Because the theme tonight is whether or not the PNM under Rowley was in fact a deliberate, conscious construct designed to hoodwink, deceive, and therefore being so damn bogus. Was it, of course, a group of individuals that amalgamated as conmen and conwomen to fleece? And we're going to look at, of course, the objective, because in business, when you sign a contract, there is something called, of course, consideration. And consideration is a specific term in contract law. Because you see, a person who, of course, gives his money, and just so, whether you want him to look, or that individual intention was to be an altruist, a philanthropist, or someone simply giving, but there's always a return. The return, the consideration here could be that he wants to feel good, he or she. It could be that he wants to demonstrate a particular course of action that his magnanimity will, of course, project. It may be that he simply is a nice fellow or lady, and therefore is so engaged and by and it is second nature for him or her to engage in such activities. But strictly in business, you must give something for something. So therefore, if you give money and you desire a car, the consideration is you're giving the money, but the consideration that you have to get a car. The point I am making here is that the PNM, under Rowley, the consideration is to get the Treasury of Trinidad and Tobago and engage in the most profligate, the most corrupt, the most nepotistic, the most aggressive and spectacular policies and programs, draconian and otherwise, take it or leave it, with the associated, of course, misogynic statements and brutal harassment of the people and the condemnation thereof, so that you will not ask any questions. And if you do, they talk about, of course, what? They sign what? Yes, they sign contracts that enshrines in it a secrecy. And it is against that background we have this discussion tonight, whether the PNM from the beginning had set out, of course, to hoodwink the people, to deceive the people, and it had nothing to do, as they espouse, with the development of Trinidad and Tobago and a broadening, of course, our economic base, promoting employment opportunities, and the advancement of Trinidad and Tobago. And let me, of course, for the moment, silence myself, as I introduce my colleague. Pleasant good night once again, my friend.
Yeah, my comrade. Pleasant good night to my political leader of love, Sir Lennox Smith. Pleasant good night to Mrs. Kamala Prasad and she full team out there who been accepted in the office. Pleasant good night for the audience who looking up on the World Wide Web, and pleasant good night for the people in them who's been calling in and being interested about what's going on in the country and what materializing in Trinidad and Tobago today. But this whole thing with Mr. Rowley was a well planned, because at the end of the day, the old leader, Mr. Manning, said, all they know what all they're doing, don't involve this man as no leader. He's a pit bull. He's very arrogant. People in this party used to say, he's very arrogant. Now, this man picked a body, a team to really come, to really make money in Trinidad. They didn't care about the poor class of people. It's only people from his organization, like his party members, and them get a play, them get little contracts and thing, so they could keep shut up and not make no kind of bacchanal in the party. As long as they're eating a little food, that's good for them. But look at the bigger side of it.
But just stick up and don't lose your friend of thought. Right. But do you think that was deliberate in terms of sharing the spoils, so that the whole idea of projecting that the PNM is a stable party? Because of course here it is, we know that they are doing evil, we know that they are behaving, they are exhibiting misbehavior in public office, we know they are stealing, we know they are not accounted. We know that aggression is the best form of defense, and he will attack. But when people, of course, are asking some very sensitive questions, including, of course, we saw the spectacle of the Auditor General car fine of $3 billion, and then, of course, it morphed into $2 billion. So the question I'm asking, I'm hoping that you'll be able to focus your mind on, is that whether or not the facade, the fakeness of the PNM being a stable party and is 67 years old and all that, was all of that designed to give the population that feeling so they could continue, of course, to raid the treasury of the country and create the kind of chaos that we have. But gather your thought, otherwise, of course, we go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Lennox, and good night to your guests here.
Yes,
and
man.
good night to everybody who's
Good
on the
night, good
line.
night.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, listen, for the little time I watching the little politics and thing, it's the first time I hear and see with my own eyes PNM people cussing PNM people, I never see that before, I was shocked when I see that. I said, boy, what has been on here?
But I just asked my colleague the question that whether or not it was just a front of what is called a facade, a camouflage illusion, that of course the PNM is a stable party and that they have no quarrel and they don't wash the linen in public. Go ahead, my friend. I'm glad that you have gone there. Yes.
Yeah, well, listen, and to top it off, I saw a video with Dr. Munilal and with TCN Heavy with the show the DBM campus now.
Yes, yes.
And boy, that is in such a deplorable state. Yeah. And I say, wait now, these people leave this multi-million-dollar establishment for higher learning to get to this condition, boy. It could be so wicked, boy, Rowley, boy. Or it's so evil, or like people trying.
Hey, listen,
I say, oh God.
Sorry, I don't have it now, but I will. Since you talk there, I will play it tomorrow. You know, I visited quite a lot of the 106 schools that the UNC built that was left, of course, to deteriorate, to let nature take it over. I literally saw, listen to me, a beautiful entrance, and I literally saw a solid tree growing next to the guard booth inside the school,
Oh my God.
Inside the school, partners. I saw it not too far. There is a Islamic school, Muslim is a Hindu school, and a kindergarten south of it. I visited both. One, of course, is being dismantled by of course those vandals, and then you have, of course, that school, and inside of it, a big tree, I tell you, growing. So if it was operated, imagine the guard or the students and them, in order to get to the school, they would have to climb the tree, then climb on the next side, and maybe branch down on a branch to go into class. That's how graphic I want to put it. I mean, it is ridiculous. But go ahead, my friend.
Well, but what was shocking to me is the statement that Mr. Mulilal made, because he said that them vultures, them cobos, and them take up residence in the actual establishment of the DB campus,
And I was saying, unique situation developing. I just told you about a whole tree. Coming in between the guard booth and the gate. A whole tree.
Oh my God. These people wicked.
Yeah, but that
boy,
is evil.
PNM will never see power again in this country, boy. Boy, you telling me Rowley and the PNM leave this country in this state of chaos? Oh God. Nah, boy. Mr. Lennox, let me go ahead because I stand to hood.
I hear you before you get
God bless.
and you say the wrong thing. Which of course will be justifiable, but just that of course it may not be of course acceptable. But that being as it be, so I think the caller understood the question that I asked. But of course I want you to let's say whether or not from all what you have seen in the past 9 years, whether or not it was a criminal enterprise that Rowley put together, and of course captured government over the last 9 years before April 28th. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, good night, Lennox, and to your guests there.
Yeah, good night.
Lennox, I see a tree taller than the pavilion there in that place, you know.
Pardon what? What
Yeah.
that?
It's a tree taller than the pavilion inside of that DB campus, you know.
Wow.
And you know how tall that pavilion is.
Wow.
So, and the tree growing inside of it. They're wicked.
Yeah, boy.
And I want to know why the Valentine lady change up the function of that place from a law teaching operation into what they call a medical. How and why she could do that? Because it wasn't handed over to them as a medical facility to learn to teach medicine. It was a law degree establishment.
All right.
And she changed it around.
All right. Quite a lot of people have said about 3 calls coming in, so you had to speed up.
And for 10 years, she had it running on like that.
Yeah.
I'll call back.
All right, yes, thanks very much, of course, for giving way. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. We had to take you on the handset. Go ahead, caller.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, worldwide.
Yeah, good night.
Rowley, I think that was not think. This is what I tell myself, right? Rowley, from the time Rowley and them win election, right? No, even before he win election, I always never trust them, right? Because one, as the win election, it's thousands of people in Seno, right?
Yeah.
As they finish that, they close down Petrotrin, thousands of people are born home again.
Yeah.
Right? I mean thousands, right?
Yeah.
Right? There are people living around the establishment, making a living, right? So that's right. Now these are signs where I didn't make out where Rowley going, eh? Because I want to say Rowley because I know he is a real hater. You understand? Anyhow, but I mean, in my book, the whole PNM is the same thing. Eh? Anyhow, after that now, they want to pass a law, $8,000 if they catch you out of seat belt. Well, PNM people and all started calling and let them know if they pass that law, they're not voting for them. Well, they back down from that law, right? They come with numeric points to send home taxi drivers and maxi and right?
Wow.
And poor people. You understand? I'm just showing you how I make them out now.
Right.
You understand? Them come, Rowley and them come to mash up this place. Right? And the whole PNM like them daughters, them lady, them come like the 3 blind mice. You understand?
Yes.
So anyhow, let me just say long again.
Yes, thanks very much, of course, for giving way.
Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you very much, of course. Welcome, caller. President, good night.
President, good night again, Uncle Lennox.
Yes.
Uncle Lennox,
Hey.
on the topic tonight,
Yes.
I want to say, but sorry dear guest, boss, I'm apologizing to you.
No problem with that, sir.
I want to tell Uncle Lennox, if you didn't watch a show called Ocean 11, the show is named Ocean 11. Is about this, you know the movie star their name, eh? But here we're going on, I'll tell you how it is. It's about a casino.
Right.
Right? They're going to rob. But the star boy who is the big thief, hired 12 people to work with him.
Right.
And here what they do now, they plan out everything behind closed door. And you know how they execute the robbery? They went and get a work in the casino.
I see.
And they started to work in the casino. And they started to rob the casino where they see it works, where the money there, how it's moving. and they started by gambling now and rigging the game. So I could tie it into, you know, with Rowley and the Misfits.
Yeah.
Because you take a
I
step.
could visualize what you're saying and compare it with what we had seen over the last 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you take all these young virgins who didn't know nothing about pipe this bus and pressure this leak, and he put them in the cabinet, he had the bullwhip over them, and he hung an apple while they watch it up. I don't know where he's doing underneath. So he was thieving over the treasury and they keep hush. And he just dipped the finger in the molasses and tell them lick it. And when they get the taste of the molasses, they wanted the nectar. So Ocean 11, and that's how they thief for the treasury. Inside job.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my friend. Of course, the evidence is becoming more and more pellucid that this thing was orchestrated, it was planned, it was choreographed and executed to precision to rape the treasury and deceive the people by a criminal enterprise. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night, Lennox. Pleasant
Yes.
good night to your guests and pleasant good night to everyone on the line. Well, Lennox,
Hey.
you make me laugh, you know. You bring back my days, man. You say I thought you see a tree growing up in front of the guard booth. Is that
Yeah.
what you really say?
Yeah. And if the school was operated, for
No,
anybody to
but
get to the main building, you would have had to climb up the tree and then maybe shoot down on a branch to get in a classroom.
Oh man, that you have it wrong. The teachers and them supposed to go around the tree and read copy book and you read and book and read. And that's what the parents wanted to do. Yeah, bring all them the children outside and sit around the tree and read. Remember them days?
Yes, I remember those days. Oh, that is what that reminded you of. And when you were a child in that frame, and in that period, you know, your love for the outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see all the beauty.
But
of
sorry,
nature.
it's in the wrong position.
The only problem here is in the wrong position. I agree with you. It's not in the yard. It's in
But,
the main thoroughfare way. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So let me, you know, I like to put things in perspective. Here, a little thing I'm thinking about there, and let me shift a little bit. Concerning the petrol train and all them, you know, all the great things that will come in with petrol train. No, this is what I'm just making a suggestion. It doesn't mean that it is.
Yes.
But I would like that members like yourself and your co-host and anyone that surrounds you right now within your circle, that somewhere that Lamantil will have skilled workers or some training facility for that petrol train, and they should get them up there in the grab or the group or the foundation of the new petrol train that is going to be open.
All right.
Because what I'm trying to say, we have all experienced workers there who will know the ins and outs, but we need new manpower or whatever it is the case may be. I'm just making a suggestion that some of the workers, I mean, I ain't saying like all of it, but a small percentage at least should be coming out from Lamantil. If that is possible, send them to train and whatever the case may be, and give them the opportunity to be part of the new petrol train that's coming in, because an opportunity like that will not come up so easy again if given a chance in the future.
Yes.
So this is an opportunity that Lamantil environs. I know if you get 20 workers coming out from there, or a school or something that you could train them. You know, you take a couple from each zone or wherever to make up and send as a representative as the Lamantil, whatever it is, you know. I can't see. turning a pipe, turning a valve, turning whatever, but getting the job done and also representing the Laventille area. At least, we could, it don't have to be, you have to deep south, we could figure out something to get them up there and,
Yes.
show them that Laventille have good people too. Huh? What do you think,
Yes.
Glenn?
Oh, yes.
I'll listen off here. I'll listen off here and I have something else to say, but I'll get somebody else up front.
No problem, my friend.
All
No
right.
problem. But I'm glad that you mentioned that because you see, when people converse and when they excuse me, and when they apply their God-given intellectual skills, a lot of things that may not have been contemplated suddenly, of course, comes to the fore. You mentioned that, and of course, you know that we have, of course, existing right now, employment and resource center. But here it is. You have, of course, brought in another element that we could look at, and that is to say, training of that nature. We can find, of course, the institutions, find the lecturing material, if you want to call it that, and therefore, of course, the content of the entire thing could be designed for that specific purpose of having them eventually be employed in the to come petroleum oil refinery resuscitated or revived. I think that is so marvelous, and that is why I like these programs, because it is imbued with, of course, intellectual, what I consider to be stimulation, and so, of course, as ideas come, we are able, of course, as human beings, one to the other, we, of course, can, of course, generate these ideas, and then transfer them into practical and, of course, usable systems, mechanisms, and processes for one thing, for improvement of our circumstance, which would include, of course, employment generation. But of course, those callers haven't given you time to complete.
I know what I like to go on this same topic too, but I will take the first one first.
Yeah.
Well, then this thing was well planned by Rowley and his team, Mr. Hines, and the Minister of
lean on this side, yes. Just lean.
The minister who what do they call him again? This one we say what they call him again.
Imbert, okay.
Yeah, and Imbert and them.
Quack of
this thing was well planned because the clienteling section of the followers, and they exploit the whole nation after. Because it's laws after laws they're bringing in, so we can't look to say nothing, do nothing. It's driving, it's freedom, they're taking away freedom of speech, they let any little thing you do, you can get prosecuted under Rowley and the move. They pass real laws in the Senate. And the nuzzle way, the highway stripping, because we can't think about what Rowley doing and his construction crews who join out the money and his road crew who join out the money. And also now the ministry, who we put special people in the ministry and to fire workers and rape the ministry without anybody really realize the ministry thinking. People like Hines went in how much ministry? Hines went in about
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 ministry. You see that man? That man terrible. Leonard tells me I'm talking, because when I talk, I like to talk the truth. Hines,
all of us. This is a truthful
Hines,
program, so that goes without saying.
Heinz
is on death row for
Heinz rape all the workers in them, fire, mash up certain organization. Because you know when he's speaking, he like, my brother, you know this is not to happen. I want things this way. If you can't get this way, you have fire. You know, you going from here. You know, so he passed through plenty ministry and destroyed ministry. As you do that, they fill the pocket, wherever they hide it, they hide. But Mr. Rowley planned this thing from start to finish. That's why you see now, it has some PNM people out there right now. The puzzle. They can't say catch yourself. Imagine 9 years, I was blind. 9 years old, I was blind. And people who run in our country doing all the what they want, no employment. No, nothing going on.
Gosh, boy,
nothing.
Like that one side kite, you're only going so shifting on the side.
Nothing going on.
Yeah, and moving, you just had to shift your body on the side. Yeah.
Nothing going on in the country at them time. Everybody, only boy, I want to work. I have my children to mind. They going by them people and them, they don't want to see you. The office lock up. They don't want to see you. You had to make an appointment to see them. The appointment is quite next 2 years. Because listen to this one. We have an employment program right now here. It costs more than 500 people. Right? People just come in. The people and them who get left out. People and them who have the degree. People and them go to school and study, who have so much passes, and they get left out because of bad government.
Agree with me in this prayer. These psalms are psalms of spiritual battle and psalms to overcome the enemy.
Yes.
The word of God is like...
So help me God, I was something like that to happen. We should be touching every part of ministry in this country.
Agree with me in this prayer. These psalms are psalms of spiritual battle and psalms to overcome the...
We know we was bullied out at this election. We know that personally. From we had, we know that. But it are people now coming out to show them, they know it. They feel it. You hear what people I call, and people still coming. So I believe when I call, I said just now, I want it to happen. From every ministry, we would like 11 people and them to get something, to achieve something. Because everybody know in the country, we're going on vacation, we don't know when we see here again. And the rest of them must be gone, and we don't know, or they must be here still. Because they can't come together, you will see no fight. Because nobody don't want to hear about them no more. I tell you, they like the white line and the road, the law. Because at the end of the day, Miss Kamala and Miss Kamala and she ministers and them, I believe they'll have everything under control. From Friday, I know when this thing get in shape, I feel every man jack who have a portfolio to put on in this party will work it to the best of their ability, because I don't realizing how Ms. Kamala moving. Ms. Kamala very serious. She have a point to prove. And I believe she going real good. You understand me? And she says she not taking no watch she body. No watch she body just so like if she body taking. You understand? She's still strong. And no watch she kindness and feel you can just walk over it. That goes to she ministers. You hear what she tells she ministers and them, and she very serious. So I believe in this era of politics, we shall have a good level playing field because watch how much years don't watch every government putting aside majority plenty government. Let me show you this. Plenty government who come in this country to rule this country, weep this government, weep treachery. And the poor class of people end up with nothing and scrum. Plenty people who run through this government in Trinidad and Tobago, one party from certain party, they do what they want. This is the only person I see, and I'm watching to see, and I have faith in she policy she put on through she party, because I used to follow her anyway she goes sometime, and what she on news and the things she's saying, so I used to follow her. And if she put all them things in place, Ms. Kamala is untouchable. PNM, UNC government is untouchable. Yeah. UNC party is untouchable. And security-wise, that is one of my main focus. Under Ms. Kamala regime, when she running through, the things she going to implement, security of our country and our people on the ground and foreign wise. And that is one of my problems right now in life, between my Prime Minister to run through this country. That is my problem. And I hope everything will come to the best. But I feel that is my contribution right now to the ground.
Yes, man. Thank you very much, of course. Again, let us focus on whether or not it was deliberate by Rowley and Day to hoodwink, fleece, rape the people of Trinidad and Tobago of their dignity, their pride, their resources, God-given and otherwise. And if it was not for Kamala Prasad Bisesa, we have to say ultimately, that brought, of course, true vision, experience, expertise, and a love for country, and with, of course, a keen sense of spiritual, not just belonging, but worship, understanding, and devotion. She was able, of course, to take us out from the jaws of this devilish, Luciferian, evil, wicked, diabolical, and clearly unsavory group of individuals. They are going to be in our faces in the next few years, simply because the system caters for what? An opposition. They have been drastically reduced to 13 in the lower house, and they would have 6 senators in the upper house. Well, that is called, or should I say, we operate what is called a bicameral legislature. And as you may know, and if you don't, well, of course, we have a duty to explain that, of course, there is something called the separation of powers in the administration, and enshrined, of course, in our constitution, the document that reveals how we must interact with each other, and of course institutions as well. Let me just, all right, this one I thought I would have gotten it on the system, but this caller seemed not to be able to get onto the system, so let me just take it here on the, a pleasant good night, welcome.
Hey, good night to you and your guest.
Yes, caller from Mongdo, just hold on, I have Mr. Tagarigua on before you. Go ahead, Mr. Tagarigua.
All right. Right, you hear me? Right.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Tagarigua.
Right, you hear me, man?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Right, so you know, I'm a man who like to repeat myself.
Right, doctor?
No, not yet, Mongdo. Mr. Tagarigo is still on. Go ahead, Tagarigo.
Yeah. I was listening to the acting police commissioner again tonight. This Benjamin fella.
Yes.
Unless they don't get this idea out of their head about the public participating, we ain't going no place, you know.
I hear you.
Look at crime all over the place again, Lennox. I mean, you see don't come.
Yeah.
Try to give them a chance to show them put things in place.
Yes.
A man get killed outside that church in front of the white man and the child.
Yeah.
But what about again? You say or something? Remember the fellow was representing some association? And they shoot him in front of the church in front of the wife?
Yes.
So, what is police commissioner want to see again? Who the hell coming forward to tell the police anything and see this and see that? Nobody ain't doing that. You know that too, Lennox?
But yeah, of course, that is practical because you yourself may be converted to a victim.
That's right. So unless they don't get that out of their head about public participation, we ain't making no headway, Lennox.
I hear you.
Look at people that get killed over the weekend. Yeah? Taxi driver driving on the road. You ain't safe. Not you are. Or they have no sense. We just put people in place to avoid all these things. Lennox?
Yeah.
There's only one man ever prove a point to that is Johnny Abraham, and I say that. So, something had to happen. Or they link to the man and them advise all they want to do because Lennox, this thing ain't good on, boy.
I hear you. All right.
Every day people getting killed, Lennox, every day, boy.
I hear you. I mean, it is horrendous. It is unacceptable. But of course, I finished with it because I don't want to preempt what you want to say.
But what you have in mind to tell me?
All right. I'll say it when you cut off. All right, because we have about 2 persons waiting.
Oh, all right.
Okay then. Yes, indeed. The point I was going to make was very simple. Whenever the PNM is not in government, murders subside. There's less murders when the PNM is not in government. So it means, therefore, they must stay out of government for murders to continue to subside. That's the point I am making. There seems to be something in the atmosphere, something that is miraculous, or something that is maybe divine, something that is supernatural, whatever. The fact is that once they are out of government, murders are reduced. Once they're in government, it has increased. And we saw that, of course, exponentially increased during the course of the last 9 years. And before, of course, the 8th of April. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. Mongdo.
Yeah. Good night, Doctor, again, and the soldier next day.
Yes.
Yeah, good night.
Nice. Concerning the petrotron
idea, just hold on. We have Mr. Mongdo on the line.
Getting looters from Lavantil. That is a very good idea because Lavantil is a place to need a lot of help, right? And they get plenty blows from the PNM administration, So yeah. I think they deserve it. You can help them as much as possible.
Yeah, give them a helping hand, a hand up. Yeah.
I only hope the Honorable Miss Kamala could hear what we say, Now, our next thing we could do to help the Lavantils and the Port of Spain and thing, the youths, we could get some big buses. Trinidad have rare land to plant. We get some big buses, pick them up in the morning. Whoever wants to plant, you find out who interested. You get some bus, you carry them on a piece of land, let them plant, and you pay them like a job. You pay them, and the produce, you're selling it, or you can even export it. You know. So these are things where we could help the Laventers and plus create our own employment.
Yeah, because there's quite a lot of excess
right,
labor.
my brother?
Yeah, a lot of excess labor is in that particular community. But I want to tell you as well that of course that was an experiment that was initiated by, of course, the NAR when they were in government, and of course it was shut down by the succeeding PNM in 1991 after the NAR lost the election. But that being as it may, let's go straight, of course, to the line. Our President, good night. Welcome, my friend. Go ahead, caller.
Good night, you Lennox. Good night, yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
As in regards of Petrochin Lennox, I want to make a suggestion. If the government need capital to get Petrochin going, what they could do from Trinbagonians, they could buy shares. If they want $500 million, $1 trillion or whatever, they could raise capital from all Trinidad and all Trinidadians and Tobagonians that we could invest, interject capital, to purchase shares to raise in order to get the company going.
You're referring going. A beautiful suggestion.
Yeah, and we could, be shareholders, all Trinidadians and Tobagonians, exclusively for them, and whether the union or whoever, be part of whoever to have the company going, and we could be shareholders.
Let me ask you a question, because I'm very intrigued by, of course, that suggestion, but I want to know where the genesis came from. Is it that in other words, I'm trying to ask you, if the PNM has suggested what you just suggested, would you have invested?
Well, I can think. Well, I mean, once everybody part of it, but I mean, we want to make sure it being managed properly, and we know the union will do a good job. Yes. Of whoever can be able have the experience, and be able to run the company and shareholders. Okay. Whether the government want to be part holder also, and interject, but again, that everybody could be part owner of the company and have it going.
I hear you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So that's my suggestion tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much, Lennox. Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. You see, I asked the questions with a high degree of specificity because, of course, I thought it has to be somebody who has renewed faith in Trinidad and Tobago and its capacity to manage and stay the course in terms of transparency and accountability. And I'm saying that if it was a PNM government, no such thought would have been created in the minds of anyone because of the PNM track record. Remember, you had two instances to show, well, your money would have lost if the government had come up with such an initiative. You had Nikon, for example. Nikon was supposed to be, of course, what I consider to be a self-generating, money-making enterprise. Right on the same Petrochin Point-a-Pier oil refinery, turning, of course, diesel into environmentally friendly products so that it could, of course, or people can use for industry and possibly domestic purposes. But the point I am making here is that all of the mechanisms were in place. Rowley even said that it's the only one of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. Not even America has it, United States, Canada, and of course any of the Latin American countries. But guess what? 2 weeks afterwards, after cutting the ribbon for that Nikon project, it blew up. It blew up. It had, of course, the Southwestern Peninsula in a sense, in a state of trepidation. But worse yet, 2 weeks after that again, another explosion, and it killed someone then. In the first one, it didn't kill anybody, but you could have heard it from Pointe-a-Pierre right back to Labray. That is evidence, and that is what people said. But if that was an anomaly, let's say that's an anomaly, let's say that that is not the norm. Well, the effort by the Rowley administration to take the former assets of CLICO, remember they got by way of court, they went to court and they got, of course, the assets because the CLICO investors couldn't pay back the money that the government had invested as the part of the bailout, $25 billion, I believe it was, TT. Guess what? So they put it in this MIF program, this National Investment Fund, and say that people must invest because small man, you and I would be able, of course, to get shares in that company. Because, of course, it has potentially viable companies that is backing it, and therefore it ought not to fail. You know, in 2022, 23, they were about, or I think last year, 2024. You know, that didn't make a profit. You know, shareholders didn't get a cent in dividend. But worse yet, it gets worse. For the first time, National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, Rowley and all call it a cash cow for the UNC administration between 2010 and 2015. They and all utilized, of course, the money in the early days after the 2015 general elections. And guess what? By 2023-24, NGC did not make a profit under Rowley and the PNM. So you understand why I was a bit inquisitive, and my interrogation had led to a particular direction, because I wanted to know if the PNM was in government, whether that thought pattern would have come about, or is it because you have confidence in the Kamala Prasad Misesa, UNC, and of course the coalition of interest team to make such a bold statement for investment into, of course, the resuscitation of the oil refinery by citizens in the main, of course supported by the government. That is the point I was making. That here it is, you have, of course, everything they touch seem to have gone south. Like if the sour, like if the blight, like if the curse. And as somebody said today on the GOG report, and I took note, that suddenly everybody getting water 24/7. and of course, only the other day, and I think I should share here too, that of course, just opposite us, are high-rise apartments, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 for the most. But guess what? One of the occupants or the tenants came here and told us, listen, I don't know what happened, but it's the first time in a long time I getting water on the 3rd floor. Normally I would have to go down on the ground floor to fill buckets and walk upstairs, but getting water on the 3rd floor. So what has gone wrong? Or put another way, what has become right? And I can tell you, it's because if the top, as they talk, as they make the analogy about fish, they say when the fish head is rotten, the entire body is rotten. Well, Rowley and they were rotten at the top to use and to superimpose that analogy on the practical experience of Trinidad and Tobago over the last 9 years, prior, of course, to the 28th of April. The head was rotten, and so everything else, that malaise, that delinquency, that tardiness, that bureaucracy, unnecessary, and that topsy-turvy scenario trickled down right down to even the delivery of water. The turncorks, and they may feel that they didn't have to because they were badly treated, etc., etc. Now we are seeing a different scenario. My friend, go ahead.
Yeah, the Clico and the...
All right. We have to go, of course, to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night again, Lennox.
Yes, go ahead, my friend.
Good night.
Yeah, pleasant good night, good night. Now, here what it is. You see what it is you're referring to, and you're putting all these nice thoughts in people's head. I believe, in my humble opinion, is that the small man on the street, the average person on the street, feels wanted. And
so it's
because
a
of this,
thing, an emotional thing. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
I think, and I believe the country is needs help, and everyone is trying to put something to try to save it. You know, try to patriotic, trying to do whatever it is they could do.
Now that we have gotten rid of the cancer.
Yes, we're trying to see if we can recover, and whatever it is needs to be done. The country will do whatever it is necessary in order to make it for us to live again.
Yeah.
So, but my analogy with this PNM and thing is like this like a computer, because having a computer, you could do good with it, or you could do bad with it. And the government, in that sense, is the computer. And instead of doing good things, they did bad things with it. Mm-hmm. So they suffer all the people, instead of just lifting them up, moving forward and having the country going. But knowing what the damage they've done, that's it for them. Bye-bye, as we would say. You know. So all right, Lennox, I just wanted to let you know that I think it's the people now has realized that
they're feeling a sense of euphoria, a sense of patriotism, a sense of of industry, a sense of optimism. That is the kind of psychological impact the new government has on the people. That is what you're saying. If I capture it properly. Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'll be off here, but yes, exactly that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The people is ready to help.
Great,
all right,
man. Before you make it today, because it may sound a bit hilarious, it may sound a bit jocular, but it appears that even nature, you know what I'm saying? Nature appeared to be in sync with the new government, because they are saying now that the rainfall that is falling now, the reservoirs are being filled. But when rain was falling under the PNM, the reservoirs of them were never filled. You know what I say? I say that the rain and all falling in the right place. In other words, in order, of course, to bring relief and to improve the quality of life and standard of living of the people under a UNC Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and of course the coalition of interest administration. I mean, that is phenomenal, because I had asked that question during the course of the 9 years prior to the 28th of April, you know. I had said, but wait now, but even nature going against the PNM. Really? Look, for the first time, Greenvale, people were marooned on top of their house roofs. Greenvale. And when we examined, because I have the documents here, don't get me vexed before I present it, you know. When we investigated through the Freedom of Information Act and called on the Ministry of Housing to say what transpired with that project, you know what it turned out to be? It turned out to be that Rahel, the former mayor of Port of Spain, a PNM mayor, and obviously, and of course, good friend of Rowley, Rowley being, of course, the Minister of Housing at the time, you know, they bought, Rahel bought a lake bed. You know what I say? He bought a lake bed, and Rowley, as Minister of Housing, bought that land as residential land, residential price, and put put those houses, that development in that lake bed. And more significantly, there was more, as for the first time, I saw how Sharon Rowley, the sign, because they used that land to get a loan from Royal Bank in order for them, Sharon Rowley, etc., to, of course, construct Greenvale. That is the level of corruption we are talking about. So again, it is clear that too triggers back to the fact that it was deliberate. It was about fleecing Trinidad and Tobago. It was about lining their pockets. It was about greed. It was about acquisition of power for power's sake, in order, of course, to advance their own agenda. Contrary and inimical and dangerous to the wider population, and thus we are having, of course, a different feel, a different scenario, a different, of course, expectation, and a different optimism. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes. Now, I see in Western Tobacco, I remember the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago they could go and get shares in Western Tobacco and invest in shares. So,
well, we have to always, of course, pause for a cause, and this is, of course, in this case, we have a caller from San Fernando. A pleasant good night. Welcome, San Fernando.
The pegs suddenly get the right shape now.
I ever say?
I said the pegs. You know, like putting square pegs in round holes?
Yeah, square peg, yes.
The pegs suddenly get the right shape to go down in the hole now.
I see. So square peg in square holes, as opposed to square peg in round hole. I hear you. Right, okay.
the pegs suddenly get good shape. So
yes. So it corresponds. Yeah.
If you know, light up, I'm feeling real light right now, you know.
I hear you, my friend. I mean, I and all with respect to property tax in particular. I told them, do not pay. How the hell you want it back now? Don't pay. If you didn't pay, you had to study whether you get it back or not, and to make Alvary and them engage in their foolish, what I consider to be superficial and superfluous and non-argument scenario to look for relevance. But go ahead, my friend.
But if I tell you something, I could no longer listen to Alvary and them fellas again, you know, because them is fast news.
Yeah.
Them is
spent, I wouldn't even say force, but spent asses.
True. So anyhow, enjoy the balance of your night.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, all right.
Okay then, my friend. Yes, indeed. Well, of course, he wanted to comment on the fact that the whole atmosphere, nature and all, seem to be in favor of the new dispensation. Go ahead.
As I said, it are people, long time you say invest in certain companies and things and get a return, It's really a good idea, It's according to, because we're looking to rebuild, we're looking to see if we could reach out to the public and certain things to see if we could bring back things together. It's really a good idea, but only thing, the caller from foreign.
Yeah, so foreign caller. Well, boy, they beat it to the button. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Say where you're calling from.
Mr. Lennox, my political leader, this is the pity.
Yes, man.
Attend a function of that All-Stars, Neil All-Stars.
Yes. I know that they're just up the street there, yes. Yes, my friend.
It was very great.
All right.
One thing I'm proud of is my culture and community. Miss Benjamin came, and she came with an All-Star jersey, so she get to realize that for the Spain is all stars, and for the Spain is love.
Yes,
and the coalition of interests. I didn't interact with she much because I will talk to she on the coming days, but I noticed it had the opposition leader there too. I think Miss Penny Beckers, or whatever she name is, because right now we don't want that taste in the mouth.
I hear you.
And the majority of the people in our stars was gravitating to Miss Benjamin.
Right.
Right? And she's not from Port of Spain, she's from far. It's Paramuga, right?
Yes, that's
right.
That's far, boy. That's far, yeah.
That's far.
Yeah.
And for the honorable to have an all-stars jersey, it's a mention that Port of Spain is of riches, it's of the love party, it's a love the COP, it's about the coalition, because everybody and the PEP is about talking about us, of the coalition of interest.
Yeah, man. But thank you, of course, for representing love at the same time, and to, of course, make your presence felt at that scenario, that celebration. I understand it is a whole week of celebration, is it?
No, my brother. It's just for one day.
Just one day,
okay. Jewels and it's from R6, go straight up with credit unions and the banks. With all kind
I see. Okay.
For Port of Spain, Spain. And to see that you is Port of Spain, I represented it. I was well represented, acknowledge me.
Great, my friend. Well done. We have to work. We have to spread our wings, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just glad to see that they acknowledge us. And it was a great thing to know that you is supposed to be everything. So enjoy your night.
Yes.
You and your studio guest, Mr. Richie Taylor, and the people. So enjoy your night. I'm going home.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well, my friend, for representing.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how it should be. I mean, we said that we love Lavatil of Trisha Vertical and Richmond, and therefore, occasions like these, we would have been expected to participate. We'd have been expected, of course, to attend, and that is how we do it. We divide labor, meaning that, of course, somebody will go somewhere different from the other person, and so we are able to be as ubiquitous as we can be, meaning we are not Jesus Christ or God, but certainly if we divide our responsibility, we can be, of course, almost everywhere where we need to be. That is what is important. But of course, I just want to change the topic a little bit to deal with the culture. Are you not fascinated with the level of creativity? Because I mean, All Stars is one of those premier bands in the country, and here it is. They have been able to create an event, clearly to raise funds as well, and to, of course, impart some of that sweet music, pan music, and to, of course, stamp their authority in the community. And I'm sure that some of the funds that would have been raised would have gone to, of course, some worthy cause. Let me put it that way. But the important thing is that they are keeping the community alive, and activities are taking place around, of course, what I consider to be an iconic entity in the name or in the form of All Stars Steel Orchestra. Go ahead.
No.
Neil and Marcy, in fact, yeah. Or Marcy, I should say, not Neil and Marcy. Marcy.
All Stars is a nice band. I love our culture. I believe that is something should be going through between all bands in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, to keep the place excited so somebody can look forward to go a pan show out and, you know, in a pan yard, you know. It's something like that, even, you know, to keep all the culture going then, because it could be Phase 2, it could be Desperados, it could be Renegades, you know. It's time for the pan to really show itself in Trinidad and Tobago. Last year, few pans show up themselves, and it was very nice. I think putting aside the crime and where it's going on, people still come out. People want somewhere to go. Imagine people who want to come out of the house, don't matter the crime situation, they're coming out and they're going to support the culture. So that is something I will look forward to see in plenty bands. You know, All Stars make a celebration for so much years. There was, I think it's 90 years the band was in existence in the culture of pan. You know, that is how long pan is existing in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, so it's a really a good idea to see other bands, you know, maybe they can celebrate themselves or keep something to uplift the country, bring tourists. Because there is something I'd be talking and I talk about the other day now. We can use the tourist part, the culture, to bring in the tourists in our country. We have real cultures thing where we can do in our country to make it recognized to the tourists to come in our country.
Well, of course, we only have six more minutes.
Yeah. So pan is one of it. So I believe that is a good start for
I think
USC government to really look forward to.
Yeah,
and whoever was there, maybe they might get some ideas, right?
Yeah, that level of creativity to make themselves relevant and to, of course, be perennial in terms of their presence and activities. Remember, of course, where we are here in a radius of about, let's say, a kilometer, if not less, we have Desperados, we have, of course, All Stars, we have Renegades, we have, well, Caribbean has been floundering, but we can say Caribbean as well. We can say, of course, Renegades, I said before, and of course, that band Stalif, I believe it was, it is on Tragridge Road. So in this vicinity alone, I suppose that we can create some kind of niche way of course, attracting tourists. But we must be able to clean up the crime and criminality and the restlessness of our young folks. That is the only impediment. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night and welcome to the corridor.
One more time for me, Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
It's just an input. I love this thing too with the PAN thing because I also was a member of the PAN Association in the sense of fraternity.
Okay.
Right, my little band was Potential Symphony. I was up in Malikope, so I was up in that realm at that time.
Right.
But the thing about it, let me just make a small little input in this. Now, everybody keeps saying the different pan sections, different areas to go to, which is definitely 100%. But I think the 101% is actually setting up a museum. I'm talking about to actually for tourists to go in and pay money and get in there and see things, because there's things you could do. You could have a whole small theater where you have videos showing of different pan finals, where you could sit down and see how a final looks like. I'm talking about for the tourist part of it, in local to in schools to go and visit, to see how pans are made, but you cannot really get to it. It's actually everything is in glass case. So as you're going along, you're getting the history of it. You're seeing a miniaturized small little pan, like Catelli All Stars, like different pan group, but a little small miniature, so you can see how a band set up. Then you might have the opportunity to play one of the instruments or whatever the case may be. But what I'm trying to do is to get the educational background of it, and also the historical background. So when you go to this place, you get in all this information with digitized information on it, including calypso and soca and every or the whole generation of the culture inside of this auditorium. So, but you have to pay to go in, obvious. It's only the children alone are allowed to go in there to actually see, because they want to contribute, but the schools are free to get in, but everyone who come off the ship will have somewhere to go, because remember, people will be coming in different quarters of the year, so
you added to the features the tourist
but let's think about it, that's outside the box.
So,
but again, I know you have a short time, but So let's think about something again. But I think we need something like that to capture our own
Culture.
identity of the culture, including mass inside of there too. Not like the where we have the little museum up by the savannah up there. I'm talking about something big.
Substantial.
You understand? Fully air conditioned. You could buy T-shirts from different bands.
Yeah.
The Trinidad and Tobago. Some things like that. Souvenirs and stuff.
Yeah.
But it all belongs to the yeah. So let's try to think outside the box, and we could do it, because I see certain things outside here.
Yeah,
all right, Lennox, so I know you have a short time. You need your rest.
You didn't call me yesterday, but I'm sure
I'll give you a call. Don't worry about that.
All right, all right. Don't get it. Yes, indeed. Of course, I had something to show tonight, and I think I call it the tale of two different leaders. Have a look at it, and maybe you will glean
Lennox
from it
Smith,
what I have
Corridor
gleaned from it.
Transformation, TCT, September 23rd, 2024. The tale of two diametrically opposite leaders. Kamla is about people-centered, advancement and development of TT. Raleigh is about self-serving nepotism, socioeconomic degradation, and the destruction of the gains made by the people of TT under the guise that this is the best TT can do. Clearly, that is the normative standard of the PNM and Raleigh. Certainly all of TT disagrees. The cold fact will unveiled in the next general elections. PNM under Raleigh has mutated into a well-defined criminal enterprise. Kamla and the UNC must step in the gap to save TT.
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in the grave, no fuck with me hand.
I thought, of course, we should play that tonight. That was something that was prepared, of course, for in preparation for the elections, when or gone. Maybe I should start it all over again, so you will get a better appreciation as to how it has fit into tonight's program. Because, of course, it is about two different characters, the tale of two different, let's say, leaders that, of course, one people-centered, honest, and, of course, concerned about the population across the board. Whilst, of course, you have another fella who treated Trinidad and Tobago as if he's an accountant. He only sees figures and not people. So let's play it again for you to get a better grasp and appreciation. All right, so here we go.
Lennox Smith, Corridor Transformation, TCT, September 23rd, 2024. The tale of two diametrically opposite leaders. Kamla is about people-centered, advancement and development of TT. Raleigh is about self-serving nepotism, socioeconomic degradation, and the destruction of the gains made by the people of TT under the guise that this is the best TT can do. Clearly.
Boy, we had to pause it. Somebody's calling. Sorry about that. I know that you were well into it when, of course, this call came, but we by policy must, of course, respond.
I'm here. It's alleged that Faris Alwari hired a lady and was paying she $50,000 to move around with him. He made a spot for her in the AG office, and when he moved across to the local government ministry, he made a spot there for the lady too, and that woman was receiving $50,000 a month. Well, if that is true, I want to know if
repeat that for me, because I didn't get it clearly. Repeat it for me. I didn't get it clearly. Repeat what you just said. Yeah.
As if it is alleged that Faris Alwari hired a lady when he was in the AG office and was paying her $50,000 a month. He made a special position for her there. And then when he went over to the local government ministry, he made another position for her there and paid her a similar amount of money.
Okay. Not surprising. That's why he's blowing all these dog whistles all over the place. And then saying that they will come. Thousands of European workers and CPEP workers are going to be targeted, etc. You know, without failing to tell us, or should I say failing to tell us that listen, political appointees must go. Political appointees must go. And he's referring to people who would have been appointed by the PNM, and therefore they must go.
Yes.
That's all. So don't hogwash about your bleeding heart and you're sorry for people as if they are public servants or people in the private sector. So no, they are political people, and therefore all of you PNMites who have a sense of conscience must denounce this man in attempting, of course, to blow dog whistle in order, of course, to have you act in a particular way. But I know that you're smarter than that. But go ahead, my friend. Are you complete?
Yes, I want to hear what the rest of them was doing, because you heard some other things from Imbert's son being paid in the aviation.
Yes.
Please, what do you call it? Car. He was
employed at Cal, yes.
In the PNM.
Yeah.
Spending money in nepotism and contracts.
His wife had contracts, and of course, power washing in the stadium, the Banara Stadium, for a heaping set of money. All of that we will know, and who get what.
Lennox used to be preaching silver bracelet business. Some of these people have to get silver bracelets now. And
yes,
the TTPS have to be aware of these things and act accordingly.
But I'm certain that they are. That is why he is talking that way. You see, he's trying, of course, to generate some kind of sympathy, some kind of situation where he is being a victim. That's what he is doing. But of course, the government is smart. You notice they studying it, they ain't talking about it. But I know that investigations are taking place, and when you get it, it will come like a avalanche. Yes, a Richard, a speck of, not speck, but of course, a huge avalanche of snow, or should I say situations where, of course, you have to account to criminally as well as civilly.
You know what I like about
yes,
it?
Yes.
Hopefully, we've had a fallen others.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, go ahead quickly.
You know what I like about this government? They're saying well, but they ain't getting no confrontation. And I love that. Don't give them no confrontation. Let them beat up themselves. I tell you, they look like the white line. Everybody figure them out.
Oh, yeah.
No confrontation. Leave them, let them bust up them out. All they don't know, we all going to do, and just let it happen.
Yeah, and then, of course, they just don't know what hit them. Yeah, but let's go back, of course, to Kamala Prasad-Bissessa and or Rowley, the tale of two different leaders. And we are seeing the big difference today with Kamala Prasad-Bissessa, people-centered administration, and a people-centered person.
Lennox Smith, Corridor Transformation, TCT, September 23rd, 2024. The tale of two diametrically opposite leaders. Kamala is about people-centered, advancement and development of TT. Raleigh is about self-serving nepotism, socioeconomic degradation, and the destruction of the gains made by the people of TT under the guise that this is the best TT can do. Clearly, that is the normative standard of the PNM and Raleigh. Certainly all of TT disagrees. The cold fact will unveiled in the next general elections. PNM under Raleigh has mutated into a well-defined criminal enterprise. Kamala and the UNC must step in the gap to save TT.
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years it's the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he, with joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politician, only making up numbers in my island. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I putting she in the center of the city. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years it's the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he, with joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island.
Yes indeed, yes indeed, and that was a wonderful one. I really enjoyed that, but of course we have more for you, and just before of course we conclude, let me just of course, this was made only today, and let me just share it with you. Of course, the results of the elections in the Laventille East, Laventille West, and of course Port of Spain South. Have a look see at this. Let me just get it on the screen. Yes, indeed. Let me just move us, and you'll have a better picture as to what we are looking at. Yes, indeed. I'll narrate in the background. Of course, these are the Laventille seats, Laventille East Movement. Of course, you will see that Christian Birchwood of the PNM, he got 5,837 votes. Well, Robert Mitchell, our candidate, the Love candidate, got 3,270. I mean, for the first time in a long time, the opposition to the PNM in Laventille did that well. And of course, making sure that, of course, not only has he retained his deposit, but of course, moving Laventille East over closer to a marginal seat. I think that is the important message here. Let me just move, of course, the telephone messaging stream that is blocking, or should I just make it a little smaller? Let me see. And I'll move it so that you can see better. You'll see what is happening in Laventille East Movement, Laventille West, and of course Port of Spain South. And of course the candidate that did the best would have been our candidate, the Love Laventille Outreach for a vertical enrichment candidate. We did better than, of course, all the rest along the northwestern peninsula, including, of course, those of Diego Martin, and of course that which the leader of PEP contested, talking about Port of Spain North to St. Anne's West. So clearly, of course, there must be some factors that would have caused the people to gravitate to our candidate. And it has to do with the fact that they are more comfortable with, of course, having a Laventille-based party dedicated to Laventille. After all, we say that Love is committed to who? To Laventille East, Laventille West, and of course Port of Spain South. And of course that has been reflected in the outcome of the election. Remember, of course, the only candidate we had was Laventille East Movement. The one in Laventille West was, of course, a construct of the UNC itself, and of course the one in Port of Spain South would have been, of course, a COP candidate. But only the Laventille East Movement candidate, the Love candidate, performed creditably, having regard, of course, to having mustered up over 3,000 votes, as opposed to the other two that could have only mustered up just 2,000. So clearly, the variable or the factor that would have caused the difference is because how people view Laventille Outreach for Vertical Enrichment as theirs, and therefore responded appropriately, even though, of course, we lost. But of course, doing much better than the others, and more significantly, bringing Lamington East mover to, of course, marginal seat status. So people, of course, we are going to be looking at all of that tomorrow as well. And of course, I thought it was important to put in all those candidates of the PNM that lost. 5 of them lost, of course, their seats in various parts of the country, from the Alsing in St. Joseph to, of course, this fella Cummins in Laukta Talparo. We have, of course, this fella in Tonopuna lost his as well. And we have, of course, Alrari lost his in San Fernando West. Yes, those are the fellas. And, of course, the 2 seats in Tobago lost to, of course, the Farley-led TPP, the Tobago People's Party. So I thought it was important, of course, to just share that with you as by way of information. We're going to be a little more elaborate on the next occasion, but I think you have seen enough to glean what we were trying to do in that particular scenario. All right? So, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. If you have any parting words that you would like to share with the population, because of clearly I know what you have seen would have brought, of course, particular joy to your heart.
Well, every day I come on this program, it has been a joy to my heart to knowing their eyes speaking up for and crying out to the government who in control, to the love we have for her, and the things were going on in this country will have to be taken care of. So it has been a joy for I to express my feeling to Miss Kamala Prasad, and she parliamentary representative will be soon in office. It's been a joy to me. That is all, you know. I love it too bad. All right?
Thank you, my friend. Of course, these days we are ending, of course, the program with a psalm. I think we will be doing, Psalm 23, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that would be an appropriate way. We will get back, of course, to the usual format, but I think we have to, of course, give some divine, inspirational, what I consider to be consideration, and to, of course, pay homage to that which, even though we cannot see, but of course we believe for the advancement of Trinidad and Tobago. So this is the psalm that I've chosen for to conclude tonight's program.
Psalm 27, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, my enemies and foes, they stumbled and fell. Though an army may encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war may rise against me, in this I will be confident.
Don't forget, people, of course, tomorrow morning, the Ground Report, Andy, Michael, myself, as we continue with these and other issues. And enjoy the Psalm 27.
And to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret place of his tabernacle he shall hide me. He shall set me high upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me. Therefore I will offer sacrifices of joy in his tabernacle. I will sing, yes, I will sing praises to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When you said, seek my face, my heart said to you, your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take care of me. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me in a smooth path, because of my enemies. Do not deliver me to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breathe out violence. I would have lost heart, unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we have faith in you, and as your word says, Lord, faith is a shield to neutralize the fiery darts of the enemy. We now cancel every kind of cursed word, contrary prayer, envy directed at us, our home, and our loved ones. We also cancel every defamation, lie, invention, slander, and negative prayer. We declare that every work of the enemy against our lives is falling to the ground now, because we declare that you are our righteousness. You are the righteousness of this house, O God. And no matter how people try to disturb the peace of this house, the tranquility of this home, they will be confused, because this house is guarded by the presence of God. The presence of God dwells in this home. The presence of God dwells in this place where this prayer is being heard. Yes, we call upon the presence of the Holy Spirit to fill this environment, and may the presence of the Holy Spirit fill this environment. May the joy of the Lord fill this environment. May the peace of the Lord fill this environment. May the prosperity of the Lord fill this environment. We declare, O God, that no evil will have power over us and that all injustice is falling to the ground now, because we declare that you are our justice. You are the justice of this house, O God. And no matter how people try, O God, to disturb the peace of this house, they will not succeed. Nothing will prevail against this home.